Hello, and welcome to Robotics Surgery Insights. I'm excited to be joined today by Jim Geiger, CEO of FlexDex Surgical, and today we're going to be discussing advancing laparoscopy with AXIUS technology. Thanks for joining me today, Jim.
Thanks so much for having me, Joseph.
And could you start by providing a brief overview to yourself and FlexDex?
Sure. So by my background, I'm a pediatric surgeon. Always been interested in surgical technology. Always been an earlier adopter on my clinical side, and because of that, I was one of the first pediatric surgeons really in the world to use the Da Vinci robot. And I think I really quickly saw the benefits of wristed articulation in surgery and some of the other features of robotic surgery. Also saw that there were some barriers to using robotic surgery, especially for me in pediatric surgery: the size, the strength of the robot, some of those things early on, the setup and all that. So that sort of inspiration led me to get into coming up with an alternative solution to the robot, and that really led to the development of FlexDex.
Great. And when was FlexDex founded?
Well, the idea or the initial work started all the way back in 2007. The company was actually formed in 2014 when we did our first fundraise. And then we commercialized our first device in 2017. We had to first overcome some really unique challenges of creating a purely mechanical handheld device that would give this natural input, so a very natural input of the surgeon's hand to the end effector and give that true wristed articulation. So there was some engineering hurdles to overcome, but myself, together with a really bright engineer at University of Michigan, Troy Abtar, and others, have really led to to the development of that initial technology, which now we've evolved even further with the development of AXIUS.
And how would you describe the mission and vision of FlexDex and your technology?
Yeah, so Joseph, the mission of FlexDex is to bring the benefits of minimally invasive surgery to more patients around the world. And really, minimally invasive surgery has had a big impact, but it still could grow significantly. And so what we've had since really the beginnings of minimally invasive surgery or laparoscopy all the way back from the 1980s is, what we nicknamed straight sticks, because they are instruments that don't afford any significant dexterity or any dexterity. You open and close the instrument, you have some degree of rotation, but you have no articulation for sure. And so surgeons have certainly done amazing things with that, but it has certainly limited the growth of laparoscopy. And it's also, I think it's one of the factors that has led to the growth of robotic surgery. What we bring is, with our FlexDex AXIUS suite of instruments, and right now with the needle driver, is we bring natural wristed articulation to the surgeon in a low-cost package. And so now the surgeon doesn't have to struggle as much to do some suturing, and some suturing, truthfully, with straight sticks is impossible to do. Suturing up on, we call it suturing on the ceiling, like in the case of a ventral hernia repair, or suturing up on closing a large hiatal hernia. Some of these, you're fixed with your angle that you come in with a straight stick. Once you add wristed articulation, now all of those angles are possible. The AXIUS has so many unique features to it, but we have obviously wristed articulation, but then we also have this twirl function. So the surgeon is able to drive a needle through tissue following the exact natural curve of the needle. And that's really unique. It's also, you get excellent bites of tissue because you're following the curve of the needle no matter where you're putting that stitch, whether it's, again, up on the ceiling in a ventral hernia repair, whether it's in the hiatus, difficult location up against the diaphragm, whether it's doing a complex anastomosis, like for instance, reconstructing a bile duct or pancreatic duct. So it's really, unique functionality. And then on top of that, you're keeping the surgeon's, wrist in neutral position. The surgeon is using this really easy to do twirl function to drive the needle through, as opposed to pronating, supinating, which can be fatiguing to the surgeon over a long case. and also keeping their shoulder and arm in neutral position. So it really is a unique platform that will allow more surgeons to embark into minimally invasive surgery and to do more complex procedures in their minimally invasive surgery practice, and therefore ultimately more patients will benefit from minimally invasive surgery.
So I'm sure a lot has happened since you were founded in 2014. Could you talk to me a little bit about the journey that FlexDex has been on?
Yes, sure. So initially we created a device, the first FlexDex needle driver. It was a really unique architecture where to have this unique input, the natural input. One of the things that's amazing about our instrument is you're indirectly connected. With the handle you control, you're indirectly connected to the end of the instrument, and that allows that natural input. In the first iteration or our first generation product, the device mounted to the wrist, and that gave it the stability and allowed that movement. But we did find that it created some limitations to surgeons adopting it. But yet surgeons did amazing things with our first generation device. We did over 4,000 cases worldwide, really complex operations. The reconstruction after the Whipple procedure, which is the removal of the head of the pancreas, and a very complex reconstruction of the bile duct, for example, or the pancreatic duct. So surgeons really did amazing things with that technology. But it was also a single-use disposable device. So we had our price point and our business model was not ideal for where the market was heading. And in addition, we had to change a little bit too much surgeon behavior with patient positioning, some other things with that first generation device. So we were fortunate to be able to take those learnings and to completely transform our technology into what's now AXIUS. And so we solved many of those issues. So we made the device reusable. So we now have reusable for 10 uses. We have, lowered the frame profile. The surgeon does not have to change their positioning or port placement. If they do, it's only very slight change that's required. And the learning curve and the functionality are also improved with this device, despite the fact we got rid of the mounting to the wrist. So, and then we've, of course, by the fact that it's reusable, we've completely changed the business model to now make it very cost effective. So it's super exciting, and already surgeons are doing amazing things with the AXIUS needle driver, and we really look forward to bringing the additional instruments of the AXIUS suite forward in the future as well.
Yeah, we've had really good engagement every time we've shared AXIUS content on the Surgical Robotics Technology platform. Could you talk to me a little bit about the clinical experiences with AXIUS and the results achieved?
Yeah, so we're early in the commercialization. We did a pilot launch, if you will. We wanted to understand what it was like for the surgeons to adopt the new technology, and that was very smooth. So after an hour and a half roughly of preclinical sort of training, but in a very low fidelity open box trainer, the surgeon is really ready to go. And then we learned that the surgeon didn't have to make a lot of changes to adopt the technology, and really out of the gate, many of the surgeons found immediate benefits. So with the wristed articulation, they found that the quality of their suturing was improving. They felt that they were, able to sew or do the things that they wanted to do. And really amazingly, for an early experience, the surgeons actually felt that it was ergonomically better for them. And that a little bit surprised us, because not that we didn't feel eventually we could show an ergonomic benefit, because we've always seen that with our device, the surgeon's wrist is sort of in a neutral position. Their shoulder and elbow are not up in the air. They're out down in a natural position. So we knew that eventually we would be able to prove that. But usually when someone's learning a new technology, they have a lot of tension in their muscles because it's new, whether it's sitting at a robotic console, truthfully, or holding any instrument. So to have that surgeons relate that experience early on was really exciting for us too.
Impressive. And when you think of, or how do you see the current minimally invasive surgery landscape, and where do you see AXIUS fitting?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Joseph. I think there's a huge robotic wave right now, right? I mean, there's tons of well, first you have Intuitive. I mean, they're amazing company, amazing technology. The new robot is, I think, made some significant improvements, no doubt. But robotic surgery is, it can't be everywhere in every OR, at least not in our current economics. And I'm not sure even long term it can be there. So if you really want more patients to benefit from minimally invasive surgery, then there's opportunities to sort of have a stratification of the market where in certain places, certain environments, and also access even to the robot, it's not going to be in every OR. So a surgeon should have wristed articulation in all their cases. So if a surgeon does, say they do 2 cases in the morning on the robot or something, and then they don't have the robot for the afternoon, but they have a case and they could have the wristed articulation, or they're going out to the ambulatory surgery center for their afternoon cases. Why not have that same benefit for their patients to be able to do this type of suturing? That's what we provide, but we keep the surgeon at the bedside, a low cost package, and very easy to just flow right with your current laparoscopic instrumentation. So I think that we really see that we can enhance, we can help more patients to benefit from minimally invasive surgery. So we can help surgeons who maybe are reluctant to take on minimally invasive surgery in some markets. You look in some markets, the penetration of minimally invasive surgery, say for a common procedure like hernia, is not very high, even in some Western countries, but definitely in other areas. So if we can facilitate that, if a surgeon says, oh, well, I can sew, the peritoneal flap closed after a hernia repair, or I can suture my mesh up, or I can close a difficult hiatus, whatever it is, close a long common enterotomy where they would be reluctant to sew it normally. That's really exciting. And so we can help more patients benefit from minimally invasive surgery, or help surgeons convert to it. I believe that we can also help the current laparoscopic surgeon who, there's some really talented laparoscopic surgeons, but they have a hard time sometimes training others to do what they do. So this will help that and help them to, when you use AXIUS, and I've had the pleasure to use it myself, it lowers, we call it the cognitive load of suturing. Like that, it sort of just, it makes it more fun. It's less stressful, and it's easier to accomplish it, less fatigue and all of that. So I think that's really exciting. And then, for the hybrid surgeon, kind of the surgeon that does robotic surgery, again, they can be having the benefits of wristed articulation for all their procedures. So that's really where we see it falling in place. And there's plenty of opportunity to grow laparoscopy, to grow, minimally invasive surgery in other ways, and also to enhance the current laparoscopic surgeon's abilities. We're an open system with your regular laparoscopic equipment, so you can use your same stapler, you can use your same scope. If you want 3D, you can use 3D. If you want, green lights in surgery, you can have green lights. But we work together with all of whatever you're using today in laparoscopic surgery. And what that means is that we can be in any setting, truthfully. I mean, we can be in markets that don't have the economics of some of our Western markets, like the US and Europe, for example. But we can also be in those markets. We can also be in ambulatory surgery centers where the cost model is different, and where a lot of robotic companies say or are trying to go. But we can be there with a very low cost, excellent alternative for surgeons. So yeah, it's really exciting to see what the technology can do, and we're looking forward to seeing more surgeons adopt it and show what they can bring for their patients. Because ultimately, I think if we can get more patients to benefit from minimally invasive surgery in a cost-effective and economic way, that's what makes the most sense. And I think that's really what AXIUS provides.
So looking forward now, what are some of the next milestones that FlexDex Surgical is working to achieve?
Yeah, so the big one is we're working on commercializing the needle driver right now in the United States. Eventually, we hope to do that more broadly, but we're doing it in a very sort of thoughtful, focused way. Trying to still have some early learnings before we go far and wide. And then we are our R&D team, which is incredible. We have just an amazing engineering team. They're working on developing the suite of instruments. So we define the suite as sort of that basic toolbox that you need to do minimally invasive surgery. So, and you're familiar with it just because you've seen it with many other robotic companies. When they launch with these 5 or 6 sort of key instruments. So that's your Maryland dissector, your Metzenbaum scissors or dissecting scissors, a hook cautery, a fenestrated grasper, and then a needle driver. And the AXIUS suite of instruments will all be 5 mm, and they will have monopolar cautery associated with them. Those group of instruments I just listed are sort of your dissecting instruments. That's where you either free up the anatomy to, like if in the case of a hernia, to or expose the anatomy to do a closure, or if you're doing like a tumor case, you're removing the tumor part and then you do your reconstruction later, and etc. So it gives us that full range of instrumentation we need to really be a complete solution for the surgeon, as opposed to just now we can offer the reconstructive part, which is definitely a key part and where wristed articulation brings its most benefit.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
Well, first of all, just thanks for the opportunity, and secondly, I think we're super excited. This technology allows surgeons to do amazing things, and just as amazing, truthfully, it gets at the tissue level or for that patient as robotic surgery. And we can be, we're agnostic to all these other amazing technologies. We can have those technologies, integrated with our suite of instrumentation. So, yeah, we think there's an opportunity and a need to have this, different stratification, different opportunities for surgeons to use these technologies. So, yeah, I think that's the main thing. We're just looking forward to getting more engagement with surgeons and seeing how that they can impact patients' lives in a positive way with our technology.
Excellent. Well, I for one will be keeping a close eye out for FlexDex in the coming months, as I'm sure our listeners will as well. Thanks very much for your time.